Hello everybody and welcome to a video on the Constructor Criticism YouTube channel. I'm Spencer, host of Constructor Criticism and Limited Time Only, two podcasts about getting better at Magic the Gathering. Today we're doing a deck tech on one of the most popular decks in Modern. We're talking about Affinity. I've been playing Affinity a lot in the last couple of months. Just something that I do in my spare time because I believe that the deck is very powerful and I always want to know what the best lines that my opponent could take, because what you'll find with Affinity is that oftentimes you'll think you're really far ahead and they'll come in and nowhere to beat you. And a lot of people think, oh, they're just so lucky, but actually what's really happening is this deck is extremely difficult to play and really rewards great play from the players playing it. So let's kind of go over the list that I've been playing and why I've made some of the choices that I've made, because my Affinity list might be a little bit different than what you've typically seen. So we obviously start off with 4 Cranial Platings. This is one of the key cards in the deck, being able to pump your team just for huge amounts, whether it's flying Inkmoth Nexus or Blinkmoth Nexus, or an Ornithopter, or just putting it on something like an Etched Champion and just getting in there. The card really does push the deck over the top and is one of the reasons that the deck has stayed powerful for so long. Next up, we have 4 Mox Opals. This card, mana ramps you like no other. Getting to play Mox in a format that doesn't have Mox is really powerful, and Mox Opal really does the job really well. Even when you have a second one, you can use the first one as a Lotus Petal to ramp you even a little bit faster. This is one of the cards that people talk about banning because of how powerful it is. We have 4 Springleaf Drum doing the same thing, really helping you minimize the amount of lands that you have to play and really adding enough colored mana sources between it and Mox Opals that you can do a little bit of different stuff. Overall, Springleaf Drum is usually part of some of your better hands in the deck, really accelerating you into what you need to do to really pull ahead, and huge part of the deck. Next up, we have our creatures. We have 4 Arcbound Ravager, 1 Etched Champion. Notice that I have only 1 Etched Champion in the main. 2 Master of Etherium, 3 Memnite, 4 Ornithopter, 4 Signal Pest, 4 Steel Overseer, and 4 Vault Skirge. Like I said, we only have 1 Etched Champion in the main deck. It's really good in the grinding matchups, but I actually think that you'd rather be built a little bit differently in the main deck. Etched Champion, there are a couple more on the board, but the card is really good. I think that if you're going to play a bunch of 3-drops, you'd rather be playing Master of Etherium over a bunch of Etched Champions. Arcbound Ravager is really one of the key cards in this deck, not to be glossed over. The card allows for very interesting gameplay, and if you play incorrectly with Arcbound Ravager, it can cost you a lot of games. So you'll notice that a lot of the people who are winning are the ones actually doing things correctly with it. You notice that we cut down to 3 Memnites. This is actually became pretty normal a few months back. I think that's changed again, but a few months ago, people had cut down to 3 Memnites. The card is probably the worst card in the deck, and it's okay to cut. You would think that you'd want as many 0-mana artifacts as possible, but because of the synergies in the deck, you just don't need that many Memnites. And yeah, it's really only good when you have a Master of Etherium in play anyway. Next up, we have our instants. Our spells. We have 4 Galvanic Blast and 1 Thoughtcast. This Thoughtcast is actually taking the place of that Memnite right now. I actually just think that the 1 Thoughtcast is perfect in the deck. A lot of people are either playing 3 or 0, and honestly, I think that it's just a fine one of. It lets you catch up, so to speak. A lot of people are like, you don't want to grind out in this deck ever. The Thoughtcast doesn't belong, and I think the card is just overall fine in the deck. Galvanic Blast is unified 4 of. If you're playing this deck, you should be playing 4 of this card. It really pushes the deck over the edge and allows you to do a lot of really powerful things. Our land base is 4 Blinkmoth Nexus, 4 Darksteel Citadel, 4 Glimmervoid, 4 Inkmoth Nexus, and 1 Mountain. I could see a world in which these Glimmervoids can be split in some way with the new Painland for artifacts. I haven't tried it yet, but I know that some people have. I would not be opposed to it. I don't think that there would be any problems with that. The mana base is pretty self-explanatory. The reason you have Mountain is Galvanic Blast is really important in the deck, and you even have extra stuff out of the sideboard that you might want to have Mountain for. You also play Mountain because you have to pick a basic land because of Path to Exile. You don't want to be caught, turning their paths into the best card ever. And at this point, in picking Mountain, it could be an island. Who knows? You just got to pick one of the two. Our sideboard, we have 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Etched Champion, 2 Spellskitet, 2 Ghirapur. I'm never going to say this right, but it's Aether Grid. 2 Ancient Grudge, 3 Thoughtseize, and 2 Whipflare. The sideboard's pretty stock, to be honest with you. Thoughtseize, Ancient Grudge, Aether Grid, Spellskitet, Etched Champion, Relic. They're just cards you need in certain matchups. I don't really like getting too cute with this deck. You know, I think that the deck does what it does really well, and the main deck is built so that you don't have to be cute with that one of Thoughtcast, one of Etched Champion. So overall, I've really been enjoying this deck. If you're looking for something that's probably never going to get banned and it's just really good and really fun to play with, I would highly recommend checking out Affinity. There are going to be metagames where it's literally going to be the best deck in the format because people aren't prepared for it, and that's a huge boon to have and something just to have in your toolbox. So that's my Affinity list. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Don't forget to check out the podcast every week on mtgcast.com, constructivecriticism.com, and here on YouTube. Both podcasts are about helping you get better at Magic the Gathering. Please enjoy this video. Leave us a like, hit a subscribe button, and you can also check out patreon.com/ccmtg to become a patron of the shows. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week.